Hi, I'm James.
And I'm Emme.
And welcome to another episode of The Bestiary, Monster Manual A through Z. This week, we're talking about...
Animated objects.
Animated objects.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I think, first things first, we should just look at the mechanics as to how they're presented in the Monster Manual, because it's pretty straightforward, honestly.
It's an object. It's animated.
It's been animated. First, we're looking at animated armor.
Absolutely. So, I mean, with any of these objects, what we're looking at is a magically imbued thing. It doesn't have any intelligence. It only follows orders. So, the animated armor is the classic. It's been left down a hallway. You shall not pass.
Then we've got our flying sword.
Woo!
Schwing. It's going to fly out of the darkness and try and pierce your face. Actually, of the three, lowest challenge rating, it's only, a quarter?
A quarter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, the kind of thing where there's probably going to be a few of them flying out of the darkness at your face. Free acupuncture. And then I think, definitely our favourite.
The Rug of Smothering. Also the hardest one. This is the one that you're sneaking through somebody's library and suddenly up from underneath your face, just...
And then ensues hilarity as the rest of the party tries to defeat it by wailing on both it and you with sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the manual only presents these three animated objects, but the big question I have is that why stop there? I look at this really as a template for, DMs or anybody looking to homebrew something to take this and think, well, why should it be limited to armor, swords, and rugs? We've got a door right here. I mean, imagine that. You go to leave through, the door to the next part of the dungeon, and it flies off and attacks you. I think just the concept behind this is great, that there's been something that has imbued this with a will of its own, sort of, and it just is going to attack you until either it or you is destroyed.
For me, looking at it from the player's perspective, when you encounter something like this, it's almost always a trap. So if you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be, someone has left this as a guardian or an alarm. It's in the way, and if you were trying to get in, maybe do a little bit of subterfuge, everyone knows you're there now, and everyone's going to know you have been there, because their rug's all chopped to bits. There's also a level of hilarity with all the different things that you can find, because it might not even just be there to kill you, it might just be there to make noise, alert someone, and maybe just prevent you from doing what you were doing. I mean, think about a giant animated feather duster just dusting your face over and over again, and what you would have to do with that. So
roll for sneezing.
Hey, your sneak tech's out the window.
Yeah, so it really does, on the one end of things, I think really encapsulate how fun and silly D&D can be. Imagine like a funhouse style dungeon where there are no enemies plus say, but any object could potentially spring to life and try and fight you. You get the party, second guessing themselves to such an extent that they stab the door before they try and go through it, or you see an empty room aside from one candle flickering in the center. I shoot the candle.
This is definitely here for your April Fool's one-shots, kids.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I know, it's kind of hidden in here, but that I think is a lot of fun, it's hidden under animated armor, is that if it's been animated, particularly in the Feywild, or if you're feeling a little bit fancy-schmancy with your magic, it can hold a conversation with you. Maybe not well, but it could. Because, again, you're not going to be able to raise its intelligence, but you kind of might be able to pre-program it, like a la Siri. So... it's just, hello, how are you today?
Well, and speaking of the terrifying vestiges of a dystopian future, I think the animated objects can also go to the other end of the enjoyment of D&D, where it can be actually really dark and sinister. I know that animated objects appear quite often, actually, in the Curse of Strahd campaign. This one that is all about dread and paranoia, and your players never really feeling safe. And as you say, these things tend to be alarms, traps, a sign that you're somewhere that you're not meant to be. And that feeling can get very pervasive, and the party's minds can start to become just a little bit unhinged and worried. Because, hey, their dinner plate might try and kill them.
There's also the sense of the false sense of security that goes off of that. They talk about that a little bit in the Rug of Smothering too, that some people will try and hide flying carpets and it'll just be a Rug of Smothering. So you think you have something totally helpful, whatever it is, and then that thing just turns out to want to just nom you. So absolutely, there's a sense of security that can be lost, and also a loss of helpfulness, and yeah, just a delight.
All in all, objects, okay, fine, mundane, boring. Animated objects, potential for a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us again here on the Bestiary Monster Manual A through Z. If you could animate an object, what would it be? Let us know in the comments down below if you think you've got some good ideas, and give us a like if you enjoyed the video. You can see more of our videos here, and you could subscribe to Adventurers Pack here. Join us next week when we're going to be talking about the Ankh Egg. See you there.